Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This week I wanted to take the focus on how to be a little bit more self-aware and kind of understand what your dominant style of communication is. Because being self-aware is crucial for your success, whether it's in your professional career or owning your own business. The importance of understanding your own social style is to understand how others communicate with you and how you interpret that communication. It allows for you to convey your message to the leadership, to coworkers, to employees, and even to your consumer. Okay, so when we talk about the 4 social styles of communication, I am referring to this diagram right here. It is going to be your analytical, your driver, your amiable, and your expressive. Now, depending on who you are communicating with, or the situation, your dominant social style of communication will change. For example, if you're in the work environment and you tend to be a driver, you're always going to be in that driver social style of communication. But when you're home, you may not be a driver. When you're home, you may be in the amiable piece. Maybe you have children, or maybe you're a grandparent, or maybe, you have nieces and nephews. So your dominant social style of communication will adjust itself at any given time based on the situation and who you're interacting with. Now, you'll find a ton of resources online. Like I said, this diagram I'm sharing right here with you is a little bit different to what you'll find online, but you'll find a ton of great material out there that will even share the shortcomings on each one of the social styles, because nobody is perfect. So any one of these social styles are not perfect. So when you talk about how to identify a social style before you decide to dive in on looking up material to read, which a lot of it is out there, guys, and it is free of charge to you. But to understand how to identify someone's dominant social style, it is important to maybe look at what their career choice is, because believe it or not, people's career choices will tell you a lot of what their dominant social style of communication is. So when we think of analyticals, we think of people who are analyzing, right? And you would be correct. They tend to be your accountants, your financial analysts, your data scientists, or even engineers. When you think of a driver, you think of somebody who's driving something, right? They're taking the lead. Those tend to be your CEOs, your entrepreneurs, your directors, your managers, anybody that sits in a leadership role. Then you think of your amiables, right? Amiables tend to be people who are empaths. They tend to really be compassionate. They are typically people in a customer service role, or in the human resources, or teachers, or therapists. They tend to have a personality that you're just like, oh, they are so amazing. They understand me. But that tends to be what they exhibit out to the world, as that is their dominant social style of communication. And then we think about expressives, right? That's somebody who's expressing something, being vocal about something. So expressives tend to be people who are sales individuals. They tend to be people in sales roles, whether it's in sales and marketing, or in a public relations role, or actually, believe it or not, even leaders tend to have portions of their dominant social style of communication being expressive. Think about somebody who's a social butterfly. That tends to be somebody who's expressive, somebody who's in the arts. They are very creative. So when you think about the type of characteristics that you see, you will understand a little bit more, right? When we talk about analyticals, they're fact-oriented. They're all about solving the problem. They're organized, but they also avoid group settings because they don't work well in groups. They prefer to do everything solo, and that's okay. When you think of a driver, drivers also are solo. Think about that saying, the further up the career ladder you move, the less friends you have. And it's very true. They tend to be very competitive. They seek being in charge. I mean, they're drivers for a reason, right? They are very careful at planning, but they also are all about results and they're driven by results, but they also tend to be impatient. And that would be a downside to that characteristic, right? When we talk about amiables, these are people that relate very well to others. They listen. They're very attentive to listening. That's why I told you therapists are great, amiable, dominant social personalities. They dislike conflict. If you ever find yourself in a conversation and you feel, and I'll give you an example for myself because I am indeed a driver, but if you're ever in a conversation and your dominant social style is driver, and you notice that what you say to somebody kind of makes them become a little bit more reserved, they're kind of more shy now to express to you or to talk to you, chances are you're coming across someone who's an amiable, dominant personality, and it means that what you're saying can come across a little bit too aggressive. So you have to redirect what you're saying. And then you think about your expressives. Now, expressives, they are creative, they're outgoing. It's typically why I share with you when you see great salespeople, their dominant social style tends to be expressive because you see them, everybody likes them, everybody wants to be around them, they're very persuasive, they're the life of the party, but they also don't like routine. They fear being ignored. Sometimes they can talk for hours. And so understanding that piece and understanding it within yourself is crucial to your success, right? When I talk about understanding and being self-aware, for myself, I'm a driver expressive. And so when things are going great, I have no problem. I'm driving the bus. But when that bus is kind of slowly breaking down because there's issues on the bus, I'm going to express. And the way you express obviously is different based on how, you've been raised and how you control yourself. But, it's understanding that when you're not happy, you're going to express. Now, when I'm learning, like I told you all, you'll have a little bit of everything. I tend to be very analytical. I like to understand the why behind me learning something and why it works the way it works in order for me to understand how to implement it. But once I understand that, I get in the bus and I'm driving the bus all the way through. And I think that's very important, when you're interacting with your consumer base, understanding the person that's in front of you. What is their social style? And kind of working backwards from that, because you want to be able to choose your words wisely so that they can understand what you're saying. And I hope you enjoyed what I shared today with you. But if you like what you hear, please go ahead and hit like and subscribe to the channel. Like I said earlier, I was going to share with you as well where to go and get the free quiz. If you read in the description below, you'll see the link to the free quiz online for you to be able to go ahead and take this quiz and find out what your dominant style of communication is. What I love about this quiz is that it gives you questions in all 4 of the different social styles. So when it gives you your score at the end, if you scroll a little further down, you will see where your pinpoints of ratings are. So if you're more heavy on one side than the other, you'll see that in their diagram, which I think is great. I think it's important to understand that because we'll never be one solid one. We're always going to have something else that matches with us. If you're a leader of a team, I highly encourage you to take this quiz and share it with your employees. I think it's important for you to understand what their dominant social style of communication is so that whenever you're providing feedback, you adapt it to what that social dominant style is so that the message that you're conveying gets across quicker. And I hope that that is something that you have enjoyed, that there is a nugget here that you can utilize in your own professional career or in your own personal life. Again, like I said, hit like and subscribe, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye.